Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. Thank you for joining us on the program. Our special guest, as mentioned, Kim Miller. Kim, having survived years of domestic violence, has written God's Timing, Not Mine, an inspiring religious book about Alice to share hope with others in the fight against domestic and family violence. Born of German descent in Australia during the 1960s, Kim is now a Christian grandmother with many health complaints, partly caused by domestic violence. She offers support and guidance to others within the local community and is extending this help to others through the book, God's Timing, Not Mine. And she joins us on This Week in America. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for inviting me.
It is my pleasure. This is a very important message that you write about in the book, and we'll talk about it from a number of different angles during the course of the program. It's interesting how this book came about. I understand you're in church, just sort of minding your business, and a voice comes to you and says, write a book. And that was the basis for writing the book, God's Timing, Not Mine.
Absolutely, yes. For quite a while, I'd been thinking about how I could reach out and help, especially Christian women, but all women who were going through domestic violence relationships and not realizing it because they didn't realize the full extent of domestic violence.
What was it like when you get that message and it's like, okay, I'm being told I need to write a book. You thought about helping, but now there's a lot of work involved, and you have some painful memories. You have to go back through your experiences to write this book. What was it like when you realized, I'm going to do this?
It was difficult, but it was also a pleasure being able to put it down on pen and paper. I could put emotion into it without putting blame on either side. I could write it as a story objectively. But yeah, my own personal pain, a lot of the time I was just saying, yes, I went through similar sort of things. Me too. And with a lot of domestic violence victims that I talk to, they're all saying the same thing. And it's just amazing how similar the stories are.
Well, and Alice's story, as I'm reading that, this parallels a number of stories that I've read in programs that we've done over the years. Talk about Alice. This is a real person, a person that you were with in a support group who was willing, again, to reach out and help other people who decided, yes, she would work with you in the project. Talk about who exactly Alice is.
Well, Alice is just an everyday Australian woman. You would never have known anything was really happening in her life unless she told you, because it was all hidden. And that's a big thing with domestic violence, is that a lot of it is hidden. She was a very compassionate, caring person who loved helping her neighbours and friends and did absolutely anybody for anyone. As a child, she witnessed a lot of domestic violence, and I'm talking about people being bashed up, knives, just absolutely horrendous domestic violence. And she vowed that she would never tolerate it in her own life. So when she found out after leaving Tom that she had actually been in a domestic violence relationship, it really knocked the wind out of her because she had no idea.
Do you find that's a common theme, that someone is like, okay, I know what domestic violence is. I will never put up with that. I will never allow myself to be a victim. Yet in retrospect, after she leaves and she looks back and she's like, you know what, I was a victim. Does that happen where you're sort of in denial that you are a victim?
I believe it is. It's not also denial, it's just lack of knowledge. Because domestic violence isn't just about major physical and verbal abuse. It's about denying basic needs. It's about financial control, emotional and psychological abuse, damaging property. It's about intimidation and isolation. There's social threats. There's coercion. There's just so much involved in it. And when you can get out of that situation and stand back and look at it, you can say, well, yes, that's actually what it was, and I couldn't see it.
That's why the book is so important. Kim Miller is our guest on the program. That's K-Y-M Miller. The book is called God's Timing, Not Mine. The website is godstiming.mine.com. Facebook page is facebook.com/God's Timing Not Mine. And of course, you can link on to all of Kim's websites by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. When she finally decided to take off, and in the book you talk about the problems that she encountered. She had some legal battles along the way. It was difficult for her after she made that decision, wasn't it, to go off on her own and to rebuild her life?
Absolutely, because she didn't know who to trust. She didn't know where to turn. She'd never been in a situation like that, and she didn't even have a roof over her head. She ran for her life, and she was just homeless. So in trying to search for a home, she just went from one place to another, just getting knockback after knockback. And, her friend actually said to her, "What are you going to do if you don't find somewhere to sleep tonight?" She said, "Well, I'm just going to sleep in the gutter." She said, "I'm not going back." She didn't care what happened. She was not going to go back to that.
Yeah, and there was a feeling of worthlessness that she had, a low self-esteem. Again, is that fairly common?
That is absolutely common. You feel like you're not capable of doing anything. You're stupid, you're ugly, you're unlovable. Because quite often you are told that in that type of relationship repeatedly. So you get to the stage, you just believe it.
The book is called God's Timing Not Mine. Kim Miller, K-Y-M. Kim Miller is the author and our guest on This Week in America. Website is godstiming.mine.com. There's this amazing transformation as she stands up for herself. She gets help, and she becomes really a new person, doesn't she?
Absolutely. She is totally transformed, not only in how she thinks and that sort of thing, but her whole appearance. Like, she goes to church about a week later, and people who she'd only seen 2 weeks before just didn't recognize her. She was so totally different. Her face just glowed. Everything about her showed a sense of freedom, a sense of happiness that has increased over the years. And a lot of people who have gone through domestic violence and meet her just call her awesome, because that is how she appears to those. A lot of them, she is a figurehead. They want to be like her. They want to be not just a survivor, but a survivor, not a victim anymore. They want to truly be a survivor and have that essence that she gives off.
If someone is listening to the program, someone is reading God's Timing, Not Mine, and they decide, okay, it's time for me to turn my life around. This is my opportunity. I'm not alone. There are people who can help me. How do you go about getting started?
You seek professional help, counsellors, doctors, there's psychologists that can help. You've got companies like Lifeline, and that's the thing, we have that in Australia. I believe you've got that in America as well.
Yes.
Those type of people can help. They can give you extra phone numbers, extra assistance, tell you where to go, and then you can start on the change in your life. And go to counselling, go to workshops, but also apply that to your life. Don't just do the workshop and go, "Well, that's it, I know it." Go back and review it. A couple months later, go back and review it, because you'll pick up more and more every time. And in doing that, you're changing your life to be a better person.
And we're talking about domestic violence. The book is God's Timing, Not Mine. Kim Miller, our guest on the program. Information available at you can land directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Kim's website is God's Timing, Not Mine. This actually is a happy book, isn't it? It's a book about survival.
It is. Like, it starts off sad, reading some of those first few chapters, you just think, oh my goodness, that's really terrible. But then you can see the change, and it is an inspiration to read that and see it. And like, I know a friend of mine lent her book to somebody else, and the lady came back and she said, "I am going to change my life. I'm not going to put up with the domestic violence anymore." And that is, to me, that is why the book was written. And that was a huge achievement.
The book is Remembering Alice. The book is her story, and her story of seeing God work in her life and his timing. And that's one of the themes of the book. It's in the title of the book, God's Timing, Not Mine. You often wonder where God is during difficult times such as this. Talk about his timing and how Alice was able to see where this really all worked out for her.
Initially, she couldn't see a lot of it. You know, she cried a lot. She spent countless nights crying herself to sleep and just begging God to help her. But when it all happened, she saw all the things that lined up. Like he lined up, you know, the information about the pedophilia and that sort of thing, which gave her the moral and the religious rights and reasons to leave her husband. He lined up the friend to be home to help her away. He lined up the accommodation and the help that she received with the women's shelter. There were so many things that were all lined up, bang, bang, bang. And you just go, wow. Some people would call it coincidence. She saw it as God's timing. And just so many different things in that time period that happened. And she can just look back and say, yep, that was done according to his time.
The book is God's Timing, Not Mine. Kim Miller, our guest. Her website is godstiming.mine.com. I mentioned the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/godstiming.mine. A lot of great information there, as well as poetry that's very uplifting. Kim, you do a very nice job with that, and you get a lot of comments on that. What you say is turned out to be very inspirational for people.
Yes, a lot of them are, yes. A lot of them, some of them are based on what I've seen personally, and the others are just, you know, other people's lives. They've told me bits of stories. Most people, when they read it, when I write about someone else, I give them a copy, and they'll actually read at least half of the poem before they realise it's about them. So it's not identifiable. It's just based on them with a general knowledge of what happens in domestic violence.
That's Kim's website, facebook.com/godstiming, not mine. And this is a book that you point out, it's just as important for the perpetrators as well, those who may or may not know what they're doing.
That's right. It's absolutely vital that we get help for the perpetrators. The biggest problem is you can't help someone who doesn't want help. So they need to know and realise that they have a problem before you can help them. But if they don't get help, they will just go out and find more victims to, you know, harm and bring disaster to their lives, because that's what they do.
Kim Miller, our guest on the program. The book is God's Timing, Not Mine. And it says as well, if you're in an abusive relationship, that really doesn't mean it has to end, does it?
No, definitely not. If both people in that relationship are prepared to work on their own issues or problems, then they can change. You cannot change someone else. You can only change yourself. But if you work hard, you can, you know, change your lives together, and then you can be a witness in your own community, to your friends and family and everyone, of what can happen when you turn a domestic violent relationship around. And I have seen that, and it is wonderful.
What kind of response are you getting? From what I've read, it's very positive response. It really has been life-changing for many people.
That's right, yes. Eye-opening, changing, inspiring. That's the type of comments I'm getting back.
The book is God's Timing, Not Mine. Kim Miller is the author, our guest on the program. The website, very simple, godstiming.mine.com. I mentioned that it was the emphasis for this was a lot of what you went through. How difficult was this for you to write the book and go back and read Alice's story? A lot of memories come back?
Absolutely. There were times when I would just write a heading, just a few words, not even a sentence. I'd come back, look at it. No, too difficult today. I'll do it another day. So it was picking and choosing the days when I could write things, the days when I was stronger, that I could say, okay, yes, now I'm ready to write this. And I'd go through and I'd write it all up.
The message is very simple in that you are not alone. If we were sort of to condense the message into one sentence, would that be it, that you're not alone? Other people have gone through this and survived, and you can too.
Absolutely. You're not alone. You're not stupid. People will believe you. No matter how isolated you feel, you're not really isolated. There is a way of getting out. There are professional people who can help you. Reach out, get help, and improve your life.
One thing you talk about is you need to find your own little haven and ground yourself there as you're going through this process. Talk about that and how important that is to your transformation.
You need a happy, safe place, somewhere, not necessarily where you're ha laughing and carrying on, but it's a place where you have contentment. And you need to say, okay, I'm safe here. I am not under any threat. It is completely safe. I can relax. Because when you stop and relax, then your mind can bring things to a clearer focus and you can work things out. If you're stressed and worried that your life is under threat and you're running and you're looking constantly all the time, you're running on adrenaline and you cannot think straight. And doing anything, like normal life is really difficult.
We've got a couple minutes left in the program. We touched on this before, domestic violence. So often people think it's just physical, maybe verbal from time to time. And you talk about it's much more than that. What are some of the signs of domestic and family violence that we should be aware of?
They include being possessive, being unstable, being unkind, demeaning, inequality where one partner sort of gets so much more than the other, being distrustful, skeptical, unpredictable, insecure and unreliable, and denying there is a problem. They are some of the things that characterize a bad relationship.
How does this felt for you in that you're able to get this book out there, and again, because of the internet, be able to get worldwide response? This has to be a great feeling for you that you really are touching a lot of people with your story and with Alice's story.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to reach out to people and say, hey, this is what I've got, this is what I've been through, you can do it too. And especially with Alice's story, because hers is just so much more inspiring and it's worthwhile reading.
How about in your particular case, how long did it take for you to realize, okay, I am a victim, I'm not going to be a victim anymore, to the point where you considered yourself a survivor? Was that a long process for you? It was probably about 3 years for me. The book is called God's Timing, Not Mine. Kim Miller, that's K-Y-M, Kim Miller, our guest on the program. Her websites are godstiming.mine.com and facebook.com/godstiming.notmine. Excellent Facebook page, excellent regular website at godstiming.mine to get all the information there. The book's available literally worldwide. You can link on to our website and get all the information and link directly to Kim's website. Again, it's God's Timing, Not Mine. Kim, it's been a pleasure to have you on the program. You did an excellent job with the book. It's a very moving story. The message is of comfort and support to many people. You've touched hundreds, probably thousands of lives worldwide with the book. Thank you so much for sharing the story.
Thank you very much, Rick, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Again, the book is God's Timing, Not Mine. Kim Miller, our guest on the program. Information available, of course, at our website, thisweekinamerica.us.